Alright, guys, I was not going to cover all this next gen news, but you know what? I think we have to because a lot is going on right now with this next gen stuff, and I think we need to give a little crash course for people who have not been following it. Um, let's roll it back real quick and start that Microsoft during this year has been having a really rough time. They've been trying to gain traction in this next gen war, and it's been pretty rough. They've had some live events that weren't that impressive. Even their killer app Halo, at best, got like mixed reviews by people watching it. So they've been really struggling. Sony has slowly lurched up and become the top dog in the race. And so that's where we were at. So Microsoft is struggling. Sony's killing it. They've been putting on a lot of live events with like really impressive live events with a lot of great exclusive games. And yeah, Sony was definitely leading the charge in a lot of ways. There was also a game of chicken with the price and release date. Nobody wanted to say it yet. I'm sure COVID had a reason for that. A lot of logistics are being impacted by COVID, and also the fact that Sony did not want to repeat the disaster in PlayStation 3 where they announced as if it were a good thing, it's $600. They proudly announced $600 PS3, and that's ultimately one of the reasons why they failed that generation. They did eventually sell more than 360, but it took a long time, and they barely edged them out. So they didn't want to repeat that. There was a leak about Microsoft's price and release, which prompted them to fully announce it a little early. They were planning on doing it soon anyway, but they did it a little earlier than they wanted to. It's going to be $500 for the Series X and $300 for the Series S. I think that's November 10th. And which is really cool that they're doing a $300 next gen console, because that's definitely a good budget option. And the specs are pretty good on it. It's digital only. It doesn't do 4K, it's 1440p, but it does upres to 4K. They're talking about 60 to 120 frames per second, which is great. They're talking about ray tracing on this $300 system, which is great. I think it has 4 teraflops as opposed to 12 for the Series X, and I think 8 for the Sony PS5. So, but like, I think it's a great budget option. So they started to gain some traction with that, having that budget option, which I think is going to do really well. We'll see. Sony's 500 and then 400 for their digital only, but there's really no difference in specs there between the two systems. Yeah. So they just early. I did take some notes just to remind myself. So they did that, which helped them a lot. And it was definitely looking good for Microsoft, but then they come out swinging again. They announced EA Play will be part of their Game Pass service with no extra charge. So basically, EA games are free to play on this amazing service called Game Pass, which is one of my favorite things in gaming ever. It's positioned to be the Netflix of gaming, and it's not quite there, but it's close. It's amazing, and you're getting EA Play in there as well now. So they hit back with the $300 cheaper console. They hit back with the EA Play bundled in there, which is amazing. And then you had Sony totally botching the pre-orders. So this has been a real S show with the pre-orders. They did a live event. It was a great live event, and then they ended it with pre-orders start tomorrow. So they did not give people the advance warning that you would hope to get, and that they actually promised Jeff Keighley in a stream. They said you had plenty of time, we'd let you know. Well, they did not. And so they did that. And then the retailers on top of it, Walmart basically said, they literally said, nah, we're going to release it today. So they released it. They broke street date by a day. That caused all kinds of pandemonium online. Websites were crashing. People were having it in their cart and then ripping it out at the last second. People who got the pre-order, then they got emails saying, well, you might actually not get it on release date. You may get it in November or like later. It's like, it was just a mess. And it was, Sony is definitely part of the problem. And another thing too that they blew was they had a thing on their website where you could sign up and it would give you an advanced warning about when pre-orders would go on. And I signed up for it. A lot of people signed up for it. And guess what? No emails were sent. So why did they even have that? I don't know, but they blew it. So now Microsoft's looking good, but then they fell a step back a little bit because then they did their pre-orders, and guess what? Pretty much the same thing happened. I don't know if it was quite as disastrous. I haven't followed that quite as much as the Sony one because it's not making as big a headlines, maybe because they're not as desired of a next-gen system right now as Sony. But they did take a hit there because they botched it as well. Then, okay, the big news. All right, we're 5 minutes in. Good. Okay. They acquired Bethesda. Microsoft bought Bethesda, $7.5 billion. They bought them, and they actually bought them in liquid assets. They paid cash. They didn't do like stock assets or anything, which is really crazy. And yeah, that's insane. It may be the biggest acquisition in gaming history. It is ridiculous. I think maybe when Squaresoft and Enix merged, that's up there as well because those two were massive juggernauts back in the day. They were the two big RPG makers, but this one is huge. This one may be bigger. And yeah, so it sounds like a lot of money, but I think they may have gotten a deal on this one, 7.5 billion, which is kind of crazy to say. But you got to figure they struck at the right time. First of all, they've always had a good relationship with Bethesda. They've always worked together. Morrowind was an exclusive on their system, the Xbox. They've always worked well together in terms of timed exclusives. And Bethesda has been on the downtrend a little bit, especially after Fallout 76. So I think, if this was before Fallout 76, they probably would have paid a lot more. That's my suspicion. And if they didn't already have the good relationship with Bethesda that they did, so I think 7.5 billion. And you got to consider too, Bethesda has a very diverse portfolio of games. Obviously, they have the Fallout games. They have Elder Scrolls, this new IP Starfield, Wolfenstein, Doom, even Prey. They have an incredible, and these games sell a ton. Skyrim is still selling like crazy on every system imaginable, even a washing machine. So, I think they can make their money back pretty quickly, especially if they don't make a lot of the games exclusive. Now, hear me out. I know a lot of people think this is crazy, but I do not think, and I've been saying this since it happened, that they will do all exclusives like Elder Scrolls. I don't think they're going to do an exclusive on that. Maybe it's a long way away. But here's the thing. Because if they did that, they're losing a lot in sales. Think about Skyrim. If that was only on one system ever, how many millions and hundreds of millions of dollars would have been lost because of that? So I am not certain that they're going to do exclusives. Maybe timed exclusives, But a lot of people are freaking out, like, oh man, I don't think they're going to. And you also have to consider the fact that Microsoft is taking a very different approach to their stratagem in the gaming world. I don't think I've really seen it done on this scale before, where they're focused on service, and software is what they're focused on. Like, they're not really trying to push the sale of a new system. They're focused on their Game Pass service. They're focused on just selling the games. That's one of the reasons why they put all their games on PC as well. People are like, well, why would you do that? There's no reason to buy an Xbox. Well, it's because you're getting software sales. All those PC players who are not going to buy a console anyway, now they can buy the game. And that's their strategy. And I don't know if it's going to work. It's very different because we just don't see that. Sony's taking a more traditional approach where you want to sell hardware. The new console's out. The new games are out. You buy the physical, maybe the digital, but, it's very traditional. So I don't think they're going to... we'll see. I'm kind of 50-50 on exclusives. I will say Starfield, the new IP that they sort of announced, that might be an exclusive because people... I think that's more of an exciting exclusive. It's like we have a new IP, whereas Elder Scrolls, all those people already know and love that series, so they're already they're pretty much bought it already, even though it's not coming out for 10 years. So you have a ton of sales guaranteed with Elder Scrolls pretty much, whereas Starfield's a new IP, and that one I think they may go exclusive actually. And you also have to remember they bought Minecraft, and Minecraft never went exclusive. You can still get that everywhere. And why? Because they don't want to give up all those sales, all those people who want to play Minecraft on every device available. If they made that exclusive, you're going to sell some consoles, sure, you'll make some money, but not enough to justify it. And one thing a lot of people don't realize is that these companies almost always lose money on hardware. Console sales are sold at a loss, actually, because They want to get you into the ecosystem. They want to get you in there so that you're buying the games for the system. So these companies almost always lose money on their consoles. That's one of the reasons why they're so cheap to get, like, to get those kind of SSD cards and to get that all those specs, the processor at that low of a price point. They lose money. So the money's made on software, and I'm really curious, man. They're fighting back. I took some more notes here. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. So it's just incredible news, and I don't think that this is the end either. I mean, they've been buying up a ton. They bought Double Fine Studio. Tim Schafer heads that one. They've bought, In Exile, Obsidian. Like, there's a whole list of how many studios Microsoft's been acquiring, but this clearly is the biggest one, and they may go for some more studios. They may go for a BioWare. They may go crazy here because they obviously have the money. Microsoft is a ridiculously huge company, and the amount of liquid assets they have as well is absurd. And money talks, so they can buy these companies up. Yeah, it's amazing. So one note I took about here, there are concerns about monopolization, which I totally understand, but that's where we are in the modern world right now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective. And that's just the way it is. If you want to change that, get voting, because that's the only way that's going to happen. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I guess I could say, because that's just the way it is, unfortunately. But it's not like a real monopoly. They're buying Bethesda. They're going to buy other companies, but we're not at that level yet where we need to go crazy. So, but I do understand those concerns. Personally, I'm very excited because Game Pass is really what it comes down to. To have Elder Scrolls 6 day one on Game Pass for free, Fallout 5 for free. I mean, I assume that's what they're going to do because that's what they've always done with their stuff, the stuff that they actually own. I guess they can make an exception for a big game like Elder Scrolls, but I don't think so. Microsoft has gone all in on this service. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's a crash course in the news. This has been craziness. I mean, I guess it's all part of 2020 because I haven't seen a console war quite like this one in many ways, in terms of the back and forth. The underdog now fighting back. They still have a long road ahead of them to beat Sony. But I'll tell you what, Microsoft's playing the long game. And I've been saying this, if you guys watch my news videos, months and months I've been saying this. They're playing the long game. They're buying up all these studios. It takes 4+ years to make a good game. So it's going to take a while for all these studios to start churning out games. But once they do, then we got ourselves a fight here, and and now that they bought Bethesda, of course, we're not going to see Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield for a long time, but it's there, it's coming, and even if it's not an exclusive, it's got to be on Game Pass, I imagine, and they're gonna make all that sweet cheddar from selling those games, man. I'm telling you, it's amazing. So stay tuned. We're going to have to cover more of this, I think, because I don't think this is the end of it, but that's your crash course. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What side are you leaning on toward more? I'm still more on the PS5 side, just because of the exclusives, but Game Pass will, if they just stay where it's at, I'm a Game Pass member for life, but they keep making it better and better. So Microsoft is getting my money on the software in that regard, and the service. And then Sony, yeah, I'm leaning toward the PS5, but let me know what you guys think. This is insanity. And are you pro acquisition, anti? Is there some people talking about boycotting Microsoft because they're already assuming that that all these games are going to be exclusive, but I don't know about that. We shall see. And even Phil Spencer, head of Microsoft over there in the game studios, he said we're going to take it on a game by game basis. And it makes sense. It fits their model of software. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure to sub, maybe support me on Patreon. I'll catch you next one. Bye, everybody. Bye.